Tashia here with Butterfield Alpaca Ranch. Welcome to my channel. For those of you who are finding me for the first time, I'm an alpaca rancher and a fiber artist living in south central Nebraska. I currently own 32 alpacas and 8 llamas, and my channel is all about the animals and the fiber that they produce and the products that we get to make from that fiber. In today's video, I am talking to you about my 2020 goals. Now, many of you caught my Vlogmas last December, and I ended with saying I have 2020 goals and I'm going to tell you about it in the next video. And then I completely dropped the ball and didn't make videos for almost 3 months. My returning video was the one just before this, which was kind of a ranch update. A little surprise that happened in January. I told you about that in the last video. And then a little bit about how the coronavirus is affecting my life and my area. Still going on. This is, let's see, what is today's date? March 27th, 2020. For those of you watching later, we are still in the midst of the coronavirus. To my knowledge, in the United States, we have not hit the crest, the max of what is expected with the run of the virus this season. So, yeah, that's where we're at with that. So part of what I'm going to discuss today is I am going to tell you about what my goals were at the beginning of the year, how they've changed, just kind of normal life stuff, and then going forward, how the coronavirus is actually affecting my plans, and perhaps yours too, if you're an alpaca owner. Well, actually, I guess it's going to affect everyone's plans, but I'm speaking specifically about raising alpacas and whatever you're doing with your alpacas, so we'll stick with that, at least for this video. Okay, so you know what, I'm going to start with kind of my overall arching goal for my business, my vision for when I first got into alpacas, so yeah, like the really big picture, and then the details of what I'm pursuing this year moving towards that. So I first got into alpacas back in 2011. This is right before I was set to go to South Korea to teach English, and I've made videos about that before. I actually have told you my whole alpaca story, which I will link up here in the corner and also down in the description box. For those of you who are not familiar with it, I go into detail about how it all came about. But yes, that happened back in 2011. At that time, I was a crochet teacher in Chicago. Chicago is where I grew up. And I went to an alpaca farm on vacation. Completely fell in love with the animal. And I knew they were fiber animals, which is why I went to visit that farm in the first place. And so when I decided I wanted to raise alpacas, it was because I knew the value of alpaca fiber within the fiber arts industry. And at that time, that being 9 years ago, I guess 8.5 actually, because it was later in the year. So 8.5 years ago, at that time alpaca was just starting to become more popular within the fiber arts industry. So I saw where it was going, I saw the value of it. It is considered a high-end fiber when you look into all of the qualities of the fiber, and I've made a video about that too. Link it up there. The specific characteristics of the fiber that sets it apart from all the other fibers and why it is considered a high-end fiber. So yes, I saw this whole business plan and potential in my mind as I was at this alpaca farm. So when I decided to pursue raising them, I had in my mind to have my own line of yarn, my own brand of yarn. So then I go down the rabbit trail of raising them and all this stuff. Long story short, bought a pregnant alpaca before going to Korea, paid to have her boarded. When I returned, I spent some time at alpaca ranches, in the trenches, learning how to take care of them before I moved to Nebraska, where I have a family history, family connections, where I decided to actually have this business. Within my first year of raising alpacas, I had a dozen or so of them. I forget the exact number, but I had quite a good size herd at the time. It was in the teens, I believe. Can't quite remember the exact number, but I kind of got sidetracked from the fiber because I was learning how to take care of the animals. And it took me 3 years before I had my own property. So even the first few years I was limited in actually pursuing the business plan I had in my head. Okay, so this is like the background story of why my business is where it is. And after 8.5 years, I had thought I would be so far further down the plan than I actually am. But just being honest about some of the roadblocks that I've had, and honestly, we're all gonna have that, right? Things don't always go as planned. Okay, so yes, the first few years my animals were at a property that I couldn't do very much with. I could do very little breeding. I was still learning about the fiber. I had actually acquired animals that I discovered later, after learning more about fiber, that I had gotten animals that didn't really fit my fiber goals, but I couldn't really part with them. Part of my thing is I want to provide a place for alpacas to just live out their life. I've learned how to get value out of all fiber types, like rugs and dryer balls, how to use everything. But still, I was learning what it is I really wanted to do, like how to get to my end goal of this fiber, or this line of yarn. Okay. And here I am, 8.5 years later. I'm just going to skip right ahead because I'm seeing the time of my video. So, 8.5 years later, I've had my own property now for a number of years. I have more boys than girls, although it's almost half and half. The boys are a little bit more than the girls in terms of number, which is okay because I have a fiber herd. Boys, if you want a fiber herd, boys is the way to go. Your highest vet bills, most frequent vet bills, are going to be related to crias and moms, to breeding. And I didn't get into this to breed. I do a little bit of breeding, but that's not really my focus. All right, I've taken fiber classes to learn about what all this is. So currently, I am still moving towards having my own line of alpaca yarn. When I first decided that's what I wanted to do, I really didn't know all the details that I had to get squared away to get me to the point of actually having it. Now, I've had bags of my herd's fiber for years and years. Even after I learned how to sort, I didn't do all that much sorting because I'm not married. I have to provide for myself and my animals. I'm the sole breadwinner. And I came into this lifestyle with debt. So I'm trying to pay off debt and build a business and take care of myself. So I've had limited time to do the things that has been needed to be done to get my business where I wanted it to be. Even last year, I did some things in an attempt to bring in money, which I did, but bring in money to live, to support the alpacas. And honestly, I decided this year I really just want to pursue the alpaca business as I originally envisioned it. So, kind of skipping ahead, but I'll just tell you, starting next week, because the weather has starting to improve, next week the weather's supposed to be really nice, I am going to be sorting. I have literally hundreds of pounds of alpaca fiber from a number of years shearing, sitting in bags, untouched. My mother took that fiber sorting class with me, which we took not last year, but the year before, so that would have been 2018. She did some sorting for me last year. But honestly, she's not around now, she's still in Chicago, but I'm just going to get right in there and start with sorting fiber. So future videos very soon, I'm going to be showing you some of that. And then it's going to go to the mill. And I'm projecting to have that back by mid-late summer, in which case I can dye some. That's part of my future plan this year, is to dye some and have all my product ready, or at least a significant quantity of it ready for the fall, which is the fall holiday is the biggest shopping time of the year for alpaca products. So that is my projection for this year. And it all starts with sorting. So important to sort. So I will show you some of that. All right, my overall goals for this year, that's just like one strain of thought for this year, and that has to do with the fiber specifically. So I'm the kind of person, I kind of mull around ideas for a while. I think it over and think it over, and I process internally and quietly. I'm an introvert. I process internally for a while. So leading up to 2020, so what, New Year's Day has actually become my favorite holiday. Used to be Christmas, used to be Thanksgiving, now it is New Year's, because I love new beginnings. I love setting goals and seeing progress in my life or with other things. So leading up to 2020, and I was thinking through this type of thing as I was doing Vlogmas, what I wanted to accomplish this year. Thinking about my overall vision. What do I do this year? Okay, obviously, process all my fiber. It's been long enough. And currently, besides actually getting in there and sorting and making decisions on what should happen to the fiber, what kind of product I want created from it, the other hindrance I have is money. So, I will talk to you about some of my strategy for fixing that too. One day, after I had mulled over all these goals, it was in 2020 that I sat down and wrote out what all of my goals were, because I was starting to think of all these different facets of the business. So, education was one of the things that I wanted to focus on. I've wanted to take classes all along, but again, funds were an issue, but also for a long time, I was the only one here able to take care of the animals, and it was very unusual that I had help or someone to do chores if I should take a trip and go somewhere. Vast majority of all the education stuff is nowhere near me. I'm right in the middle of the country. Most of the alpaca owners, and therefore alpacas, are usually along the coasts or near the coast, kind of. I guess the exceptions would be like Ohio in the east and Colorado in the west. Those are two really big states in terms of alpaca population. So they're not exactly on the coast, but they're kind of close to it. But neither of them are like near me. Colorado would be the closest. But still, all to say the opportunities for me to actually go to some kind of education seminar or whatever required a lot of travel, required time away, which neither thing I could do much of in past years, especially the early years. Other than that fiber sorting class, which I actually coordinated to have here. I coordinated to bring the people here so I could do it, so I could take the class. Alright, so the two classes I really wanted to take this year. The first class I really was interested in taking was a parasite management class that would be taught by Ruthanne McCaslin. She's a vet, and her husband, who's also a vet. They're both camelid vets based in Ohio. And if you're an alpaca owner or alpaca lover who's in some of the Facebook alpaca groups, she is in there answering questions quite often. I forget her husband's name, and it's because he doesn't post on Facebook. I see her posting and answering questions all the time. So her name sticks in my mind, but I forget her husband's name, and I apologize for that. If anyone knows, go ahead and comment below. But I know they both teach this class, and I want to read to you the description because those who have taken this course have so many good things to say. Like, they can't say enough good things, and they highly, highly recommend taking it. Okay. In this 2-day learning intensive hands-on workshop, you will not only learn how to do your own fecal exams, you will also learn when to do them and why. You will learn how to incorporate them into a comprehensive parasite control program customized to your own farm that includes a wide variety of simple preventative measures that you can easily add to your farm management toolkit. You will learn that by doing more fecals and more parasite prevention, you will end up using expensive chemical dewormers much less frequently, but far more effectively than you ever have before, ultimately making your herd healthier and happier, your wallet fatter, and the environment safer. Oh, Ed, here's his name. Dr. Ed and Dr. Ruthanne are well known in the alpaca community as veterinarians and alpaca breeders who are able to discuss complex veterinary medical issues in language that everyone can understand. They are very popular speakers at alpaca educational events all over the country. For this workshop, they invite you into their home and farm for an in-depth educational experience and some down-home hospitality. Each class is limited to 4 participants so that each of you can get individualized instruction. As I stumble over my words. Okay. In this class, the cost includes a parasitology textbook, a complete set of notes, a set of large color photographs of the many parasites and pseudoparasites that you will be learning about, and a kit with everything you need to get started except for the microscope and centrifuge, which means all solutions, strainers, cups, slides, cover slips, pipettes, gauze, mailers, centrifuge tubes, holders, etc. You may also bring as many fecal samples as you wish from your own farm to run during the class at no additional charge. Okay, so wouldn't you love to take the class? I have been wanting to take this class for a long, long time. Okay, so that is on my list to take this year. When these are going to be offered, there was one offered earlier this year that I couldn't get to. They try to offer them every month, you know, unless other life things get in the way. But with the coronavirus, I don't know when. I'm assuming right now they've suspended the classes. I don't know. So I don't know when this year I'm going to be able to get there. It's in Ohio, so of course it's going to take a lot of planning. I'm going to, fly there and do all this stuff. So that is definitely on my list of things to do. Parasite management has been on my list of things to get more knowledgeable about. I have a centrifuge. I have a microscope. So yeah, this year you're going to see me kind of learn that. Hopefully not stumble too badly through it. But, from time to time, I get a fecal sample and I take it to my local vet. But as hard as my vet tries, he's not a camelid vet. And I really would like to be doing routine fecal exams or fecal tests to just check on the health of the herd, on the health of specific animals, because there are a few that I'm watching and I am concerned about. There was, I guess it would have been last month, I took samples from 7 of my animals, and about half of them needed some treatment, half of them were okay. But I want to be more on top of this. And I want to learn all this other stuff about, your pastures and all your just kind of overall parasite management. I know there's so much to this, and I want to get so much better at it. So that is on my list, and I'll be talking about that later this year as well, because even before I can get to Ohio, there are some things I'm going to start to implement and do. I will tell you, I have learned how to get samples from the source. When I first started, I was like, I'll just get it from the poop pile. Or I'll wait until they go to the poop pile and I'll see where they drop it, and then I'll just go get it. That's not really the best way to do it, because once it hits the ground, it can be contaminated by something else. Or you might pick up the wrong beans. I don't know. So I've learned to have someone hold the animal. I glove up with some lube and I go in there and I get, a few beans, enough to do a sample. The alpacas don't like it, but I know it is from that animal and has not been contaminated with anything else. So, just like giving shots, I had to kind of get over that. Well, now I have gotten over the going to the source thing. So, I got that going for me. The other class I really want to take this year is CAMELIDYNAMICS. Some of you are familiar with this. If you watched my Vlogmas video about proper halter placement, I believe I talked about that in that video. If I didn't, I meant to. CAMELIDYNAMICS is a program. Let me show you. This is the book for it, the Camelid Companion, Handling and Training Your Alpacas and Llamas. So this is a nice big book, which I've partially read. It is by Marty McGee-Bennett. It's another one of these classes that people cannot say enough good things about. And Marty is just so well revered for what she does for teaching how to handle your animals. I've partially read this book, not super recently, but I have partly read this book. I got my marker in there. What I've learned from this book so far is how the alpaca mind works. And we know that they're herd animals, so I've also learned how to manage the herd as a whole, besides just the individual alpaca. So she does teach you how to handle your animals, how to train your animals in a way that is very effective. She does in-person workshops, and I really want to go to one of those. I would love for her to come here. I would love to just bring people here. If I had more alpaca owners in my area that I could gather together to do this kind of thing, I would be bringing all kinds of people to be teaching us things. This would be one of them. So, yeah, she has in-person classes, which I really want to take. But she also has online courses. Not as good as learning in person with the animals, but definitely better than reading the book. If nothing else, get the book. Okay, I'll put a link to this down in the description box for her website, where you can get the book. You can do her online courses. You can see where her in-person classes are going to be. There was one in Arizona that I really wanted to go to, but I think, if I remember correctly, that was in April, so I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. I haven't even checked. Yeah, that was going to be in April in Arizona. That was going to be the closest one to me, and I thought I could pull it off. But if not in April, it is on my list of things to do, and I really, really want to get these two classes, take these two classes this year, because both of them are things that I really need to get better at in working with my animals, working with my herd. Okay. With education, I had the opportunity to go to a class on alpaca nutrition in January. And that was through MOPACA, which is it's the Midwest Alpaca Owners and Breeders Association. They are based in Missouri. They had offered this class called Nutrition, 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 and it was taught by Dr. Norm Evans. Some of you know that name. Dr. Norm Evans is a world-renowned alpaca authority for nutrition specifically. And so when I saw it was him, the class wasn't too much. It was a 6-hour drive from my house. So I made it work and I went in January. It's not a class that was on my list of things to take this year, but I was like, nope, I gotta learn about nutrition. I have to do this better. And the reason it was called Nutrition, Nutrition, Nutrition is because it covered nutrition, covering 3 different topics. 1, external parasites, how nutrition affects that. nutrition to maximize production, reproduction, and fiber health. So, so important. So important. And then alpaca breeder considerations for fiber improvement. Okay. That was to help with breeding decisions when it came to fiber and nutrition, obviously. Jam-packed with so much information. Where's my notebook? I took, pages of notes here, and I will do a video on my highlights from that here pretty soon in the future. Dr. Norm Evans has been doing research on alpacas for a long, long time. It's something like 15 years, and I could be totally off on that number, but it was something like that. And he's written a number of books. Some of you might have it, his book, and I have his book. Actually, I have a couple editions of his books, and I can't find them. Wait, let me look it up. I was unprepared. The Alpaca Field Manual, and I'll put a picture of it right here so you can see the cover. And there's been a number of editions of this book. Now, like I said, I have a couple of editions myself, and I went to go find it to be able to show you the book, and I don't know where it is. I remember being up on a bookshelf in my office when my desk was over there, and I don't know what I did to it with it. I'll find it, but didn't find it today. I learned in this seminar that he has a new edition, an updated edition that was going to be released this year. So you don't need to run out and get the book because he's going to release a new one that's totally updated. This is one of those kind of books that it is like a must-read for any alpaca owner. Alpaca nutrition is different than any other animal, and we need to know as much as we can. Not only for the health of your animal, for the longevity of their life, but also for the quality of their fiber and having good reproductive productivity. Nice big words. Anyway, having nice crias that actually suit your business plan, your business goals, if that's what you're doing. But fiber, to me, is the utmost. And he did cover a lot of that, and I'm going to share that with you in another video. Okay, so that is what I've done so far this year for education. The 2 classes I want to do and the 1 class that I already took. Along with, I would like to get more involved with alpaca shows. I have had this desire all along, but again, it's difficult to get away. The cost of travel and having someone to take care of my animals while I'm gone. I have family that have moved here now. Last year and the year before, more of my family is moving into the area. So I have people who can actually help me. People who can just do chores while I'm gone. And I can just work on, being able to cover the cost of the trip. So I want to get more involved with the alpaca shows. I have written the Fiber Extravaganza show, which the Alpaca Owners Association does once a year. It is the fiber show of the Alpaca Owners Association. GWAS, that's the Great Western Alpaca Show. That's in Colorado, in Denver. And other ones I have listed here. But as the alpaca industry has embraced fiber, there are parts of the shows that are specific to all fiber. So to fiber, not all fiber, what the fiber. So it's not just animals going in the show ring and doing that part, but there's also a segment that focuses on the fiber that comes off the animals. There's a walking fiber show. There's different things that have now been developed. If you have great fiber animals, you can just send in the fleece to be judged in those parts of the show. So I wanted to get involved in the fiber side of the shows, just for experience, for learning, for networking, all that kind of thing. Don't know how the coronavirus is going to affect all this. May not be able to attend shows until the fall. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. something that has come out of my journaling. This is my journal. So every morning, as part of my new morning routine that I started at the beginning of this year, was to write down my goals. So I have personal goals, I have alpaca goals, and I have goals for another one of my businesses. And I write those out every morning to remind me what I'm going after. So the things that I kept writing every day as my alpaca goals, first thing I was writing was be an advocate. And this was triggered for me during Vlogmas, when I did some of the videos that I spoke out for the animals, like halter placement, or this whole idea of shearing, like people not shearing their animals. Please shear your animals. That's a whole other topic, but that and the berserk male syndrome, I've done a video on that. There are things that people are doing to these animals that absolutely should not be done. And I want to be an advocate for the animals who cannot speak for themselves. I want to educate people on alpacas, how to raise them, how to handle them, how to keep them healthy. And of course, I'm still learning about a lot of these things, but what I do know, I want to speak about. Like I talked about the halter placement, And I don't want to be like pointing fingers and doing that. I want to educate people. Alpacas are different than any other animal. And as they are becoming more popular, more mainstream, they're falling into the hands of people who are just not willing to learn. But there's also a lot of people that are doing their due diligence and learning what they can because they recognize this is a different animal. So I want to participate in getting the information out there because people are researching every day. People are emailing me, messaging me, commenting on my videos, people who are doing their due diligence and researching. And the information out there is so scattered. There are a number of people that are trying to kind of consolidate and be a quality resource for those who are searching either very early on in their alpaca life or they've kind of been in it for a while and they kind of get better in a certain area, like me. There's areas I need to get better at. So I want to be an advocate for alpacas who cannot speak for themselves. And I'm going to use this channel to do that. Yes. With that came an idea of having an alpaca rescue. That also kind of came out in my journaling of, yeah, I'm in it for the fiber to make yarn. I have my own line of yarn. Yeah, that's my ultimate goal. But I care a lot about these animals. I care a lot about animals, period. But these animals I've specifically attached to. So I want to be of help to them, specifically for those that find themselves in situations that are unhealthy or, I don't know, whatever the case is, that they need help. They need a place to go. They show up at an auction in poor health, and I don't know, but that's part of the advocacy thing. If we can educate people to know better, then there will be less reason for rescue. But, things happen and rescues are out there. And as alpacas become more popular and end up into the hands of more people, unfortunately, there are going to be rescue situations. And I want to be in a position to be of help. So that means getting my property to the place where I can accommodate rescues. My knowledge of alpaca anatomy, nutrition, this parasite management, like all these different things. There's a lot of areas that I want to learn more about, naturally. But I want to be knowledgeable to help. And I want to have my property in position to help. So, be an advocate and have a rescue. And I've thought about, do I want to do it as a nonprofit? Not really. I think I've settled on not doing a nonprofit. I just want to be in a position to help. I think at this point, it would be pretty difficult to have a for-profit segment and a nonprofit segment at this stage of my business. So in my mind, I'm just focusing on having or being in a position to be of help and to take on rescues when they come my way. What else? Spinning, dyeing, and yarn design. You see right over here, my spinning wheel. I got her out. This is a shack ladybug. So my little ladybug is out, and I've been spinning again. But I want to become an expert in alpaca fiber. How to process it, how to use it, all the different qualities of it, what products we can make from it, what processes we can implement. Because fiber is the purpose of alpacas. Growing that fiber, like that's the entire reason that they were domesticated, and it's the reason that they were brought at least to the United States, and why I am now owning them, because of the fiber that they produce. Sorry, my chair is squeaky. I'm trying not to move on it to make it squeak. So I want to become a fiber expert, and as I go through this year and I go through the process of processing my fiber, I'm going to take you with me. And like I said earlier, dyeing is one of the things that I want to do. That's been on my list of things to do for quite some time. So I have a lot of the tools and some knowledge. I've done some experimenting with dyeing. But I know that alpaca fiber takes dye differently than other fibers do, specifically wool, like sheep's wool. It takes takes dye differently. And I want to focus on alpaca. I want to get really knowledgeable about it, and I want to be able to help others learn about the fiber so that you can also make a living off of this, that the alpacas that you have are living out a purpose, and it's part of the advocacy thing. If I can help educate people on the fiber, on the uses, on the processing, on their options with fiber, that makes the animals more valuable to them, which means they're going to have a better quality of life. So it's kind of like the full picture of that part. Yeah, so my other notes of fiber I already discussed early on. I kind of went right into that because that is my passion. The fiber arts is my passion. Okay, and then here at the end I have my online presence, my website, my general website, ButterfieldAlpacaRanch.com. There is still nothing there. All I have right now is the online store, which is on a separate platform, and then the Facebook page and the Instagram profile that I use for that. And I'm not doing well at any of that stuff. So, yeah. Although with Facebook I did a lot when Winter was born. I was doing stuff every day, videos and photos, a little on Instagram because I was sharing it both. But if you fell in love with Winter in the last video, go to the Facebook page, go back to January 13th, and watch, I don't know how many weeks I did daily posts about her as she was growing. So, yeah, and I need to get better at all that stuff. I have a platform I'm going to build my website on. I've purchased everything for it. It's just a matter of doing it. That is on my radar. Schedule that into my calendar and get it done so that is a resource for people, so they can find me more places than just YouTube. You know, the website can share the videos with people. I can have articles on there, a lot of resources I can provide for you if I have my website together. Okay, that is pretty much it, I think. Yes, that is pretty much it. I know, it, in talking about it, maybe it sounds like a lot, but in my mind, it feels like the right thing to do this year, and that it's all accomplishable. Like, it's not too much. And so yes, my next video, I am going to go through the products that I carry in my store. This is one of those things that I'm having to reassess. Now, because my goal is to have my own line of yarn, I'm needing to kind of sell through some of the stuff that I have to make room for my own Herds product, but also to have funds to process all of that stuff and to do some of these other things that I've talked about to get my business going, moving on to the next level. A number of you out there have bought things from my website, and I'm so, so grateful. I cannot tell you what you investing into my business has done, what I've been able to do for my animals, what I've been able to get done. Like, all of those funds go back into the ranch somehow, for the animals somehow. So, like, I don't live off of that at all. That all goes back into the business. And so I appreciate each and every one of you who has bought something. But what I'm going to do in the next video is share with you what all those products are. And I'm going to run some deals, some specials. There's some stuff that I just want to get, like, sell through. There's some stuff I'm going to keep. But I'm going to talk about all of that in the next video, kind of share with you why I have certain things in my store, why I may be choosing not to carry it in the future, that kind of thing. But I would appreciate you turning into that video and sharing that video. I'm going to try a few new shareable things to get some attention going on that. I don't know. So I really would appreciate you tuning in to that next video, and it should be a lot of fun. It'll be something new for me. Should be a lot of fun. I'll bring all of my tubs out of product and I'll walk you through everything. So yeah, that's the next one, in which case I will see you in a few days. Bye!